Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
sure that everybody who's going to be here is not even here yet because we're going to have a full house. I know that with our guests this evening, Al D. Foster. I see so many Moreland neighbors and friends and family here with us for what we know is going to be a wonderful conversation on Witness to History here Sunday, March 13th, 2022. I'm glad everybody did what they needed to last night and being here at the right time today since time changed overnight. So we're all here for Witness to History. So you all know, or many of you may not know, that this is an opportunity every second Sunday of the month for Moreland neighbors to get to know each other a little bit better. So we have as our guest today, Al Foster. Hello, Mr. Foster.
Hello,
How are
Donna. How
you?
are you? So good to see you.
Yes, good seeing you too. And I know that we're going to, have a really good time this evening learning more about you. Many people probably think they know everything about you, but we're going to prove them wrong tonight. All righty. Okay. But first, as always, I want to give a big thank you to Colin Compton, of course, with the city for keeping us all connected with all of the events that we have had so far this year. And also for Lee and Kevin Kay for inspiring us to have our Witness to History. We're on number, I lost count. We're coming up on 2 years. Let me just put it that way. We're coming up on 2 years. And also Megan Hayes, who makes sure that our Witness to History recordings are housed in the library catalog, Shaker Public Library catalog. So if you've missed any of them, you can log into the library, look under Shaker Local History under Moreland, and you can find all of the recordings of Witness to History there. And of course, not last but not least, my partner here, John Dutton. Here you are. The person who keeps our Witness to History alive and exciting with all of the pictures and the time that you share with us, John, just in preparation for Witness to History. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Al, here we are. Thank you so much for agreeing to be our guest this evening. And I'm going to start off, as I do, with every one of my Witness to Histories. Why and when did you decide to move to Shaker Heights and Moreland in particular?
Well, as I recall, it was probably in 19, might have been 84.
Right.
And we had 3 children that were going to be in Catholic school.
Mm.
And the house where we had lived on 141st and Miles had been broken into twice. So consequently, I said, well, we can afford to get a little house in somewhere else. So the real estate agent, and I'm putting it that way because when the real estate agent brought us to Menlo, one of the things that we asked is, what school district is this? And the agent said, oh, this is Shaker Heights. So we said, well, okay, that's a decent school system. So that's what brought us to Shaker Heights.
Okay. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Donna Whyte. Okay, I forgot to say that. All righty. And who was your realtor? Because this was somebody who I was familiar with.
Well, as I told Donna, the realtor then was a lady named Ann Barber.
Ann Barber.
Many people. Go ahead, Donna.
And her company was right on 141st and Harvard, right? I remember we lived across the street from each other. So sometimes when I have conversations with our guests, I find out similarities in our story. So you were right in our neighborhood.
Oh, yes.
So are you a Clevelander? Did you grow up in Cleveland?
I am a Clevelander, born and raised here in Cleveland.
And where did you grow up? And tell us a little bit about your early years, your family.
Well, my father raised 5 of us. He had gotten custody of us way back there in the day. And consequently, I grew up on Wade Park. That is my father
Yes.
who was a truck driver who I loved dearly, who taught me so much in life. But we
Wonderful.
lived on in the Wade Park area. Then we moved to 72nd and Kinsman on Colfax, which Colfax is not the Colfax that I knew. If people go down there, they're building many new houses.
Mhm.
The Opportunity Corridor has come through Colfax
Ah,
now.
yes, yes, we're familiar with that.
That's where we grew up, Rawlings Junior High School. And she,
There we go. Here we are. We know that most of you have not seen this picture.
that is
There.
Alan David Foster Sr. When he was a baby, probably maybe 1 year, maybe not
Oh,
even
you're not 1 year old on that picture.
so many months.
Yes, and there's that smile. There's that smile. So where did you go to high school, Al?
Well, after graduating from Rawlings Junior High School, I ended up going and signing up for Max Hayes. And at that time with Max Hayes, you had to be accepted. You had to have a
Yeah.
certain grade point average. I still have the letter when they accepted me into Max Hayes back there in the day, 1963, as a matter of fact.
Okay, okay.
I took the trade of mechanics because at that time I knew that my father had no money for college. So
Mhm.
I said, well, I'm going to learn a trade. And as long as I have my hands, I'll have a job.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Uh, it-
wonderful. Wonderful. I think we have some pictures in here too of your mother and your grandmother. Yes, who's this?
that is my grandmother, who is Sarah Clemens.
Hmm.
And she worked at St. Luke's Hospital, which is now medical as well as residential facility. And then
Mhm.
part of it, has, which you all know, has been torn down over the years. And
Yes.
grandma lived out in Twinsburg, which when we drive out there, there were no highways. So it was really a joy driving out to Twinsburg, Ohio.
My goodness, you're not kidding, out there way back when.
Mhm.
Wow, that's wonderful. And who's this? Oh, boy.
This is my mother, Ruth Johnson. And there she is all dressed up. And this is when we were at one of her church functions. My
Nice.
mother, as I say, did a great job in raising me and my brother and sister as well as she could.
Mhm. Well, we think she did a pretty good job. We know you now, Al. All right. All right. Yes. So your journey after high school, after Max Hayes, you shared with me that what did you go into the military right after you graduated, or
Well, right after
right after you
getting,
graduated from high school?
yeah, right after high school, yes, I did go into the Marine Corps Reserve, and that was, well, and that's a whole nother story. I was going downtown on 9th Street to join the Navy Reserve.
Story. Tell us that story. This is a good
And
one.
so I walked into the Navy Reserve, which is down at the end of 9th Street. And I said, hey, do you have a Marine Reserve? Because on the way down, I saw this poster, this guy with this blue uniform and white hat and white gloves. And they says, yeah, we have a Marine Reserve. It's down the hall. So I went in there and they signed me up and they said, come back tomorrow and look and see, are there any mistakes? So I came back the next day and looked, and lo and behold, they had everything right except one thing.
And what
And
was
that was my race.
okay? Okay.
At that time, there were 400 Marine reservists, and there were 5 Blacks.
Mhm.
John, can you go back to that picture for a minute?
Mhm.
John, yes. The letter on the right is from Congressman Lewis Stokes, as you see his name on the bottom. I've always been somewhat of a person looking out for other people. That is when I had Lou Stokes. We had a congressional investigation on the Marine unit here in Cleveland because there were no Black officers and Blacks were not getting promoted. So I knew Lou very well and his military advisor. And consequently, I filed charges against the Marine Reserve unit here in Cleveland. And as you'll see with some of the pictures, many of us did start getting rightfully promoted.
Wonderful.
Thank you, John.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The picture on the left is we're out at the rifle range, Camp Perry out in Sandusky, Ohio. And that is one of the colonels talking to me. And I had just told him about some of what I felt was discrimination that was happening in our reserve unit. The one at the upper right, as you see, I have sergeant stripes on and I'm getting promoted. The one down at the bottom, I think I have, looks like, those are my sergeant stripes, getting promoted again to what's called staff sergeant. During the 25 years that I was in the Marine Reserves, and I always tell people reserve, I was in from 67 to 92, but I'm no combat vet like my friend Marty Dunn and Michael Jackson, who will see pictures of him in here, and so many other service people. Okay. I joined in 67 and I liked it and stayed to 92. So now I get a lot of the benefits.
Benefits, absolutely wonderful. And it's interesting, you were really in for what, 5 years before you recognized that people were not being promoted and took steps to resolve that.
Yeah, I started keeping track. Go ahead, Donna.
And then served another 20 years. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and they tried to put me out, but thank goodness a man that just passed, my sergeant, who became Sergeant Major Eddie McGee, he saved me many times, which I'm quite sure some of our Marines are on this witness to history, and he saved all of us.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's
this
great.
One is, when is this?
Your gunnery sergeant?
Yeah, I was gunnery sergeant, which is E7. The highest you can go in enlisted is E9. I made it to E7 as the gunnery sergeant, I'm called the gunny. My license plate says gunny.
Oh, okay. Okay, now we know what that stands for. All righty. Okay.
Well, you got the officers, but nothing happens unless you go through the gunny.
All right. All right. The buck stops here. All right. I know we have a couple of other certificates recognizing your service. The one on the left side, as you see, is my honorable discharge. The one on the right side is my certificate of retirement with the 25 years in the Marine Corps Reserve. I enjoyed every day of it. And I'm going to go back to Crystal's question because I don't think you said that. She says, what race did the Marines have you listed as?
How you gonna get this, Mom?
Since I knew the answer, I guess I neglected to ask. Right.
Just listening.
Yeah.
I won't have stop. Just
Don't
listen. Okay.
I'm muted.
They had me listed as Caucasian.
Okay.
And I told them, yeah, everything's right except for that one thing.
Just a little mistake.
I had put, I think I put Black and they put African American. And as I told Donna and John, back in that day, my mother was, she'd say, I'm not Black, I'm not African American, I'm colored.
Mm-hmm.
So many older Black people refer to themselves as colored. And
Yeah.
that's how her mother referred to herself. She was colored.
Yes. Well, who had made out that form? One of the recruiters? You didn't actually
No, I didn't know.
And that reflected how few African Americans actually were in the in the reserves. Uh-oh. Oops.
Gotta cut the
Okay,
scene.
there you are. Okay, okay, good. Okay, that was only momentary. All right.
I gotta cut it back up so I can hear. Go ahead, Donna. Yes, that does reflect how few. As I said, out of 400, there were 5 of us. And Sergeant Major McGee, he was a corporal when I first got in, which is a, what is that, E3. And he made it all the way up to E9.
Okay, okay.
And as I say, and Ron, I saw my address was 7203 Colfax. I saw where Rhonda had put that in the chat.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't see that. Did you live on Colfax, Rhonda?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, my dad also grew up on Colfax. Great. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So during the reserves, you know, you were here in Cleveland. So let's talk a little bit about your work history. Where did you start off? What was your first job before you actually went to the gas company?
Well, I worked at the steel mills, J&L Steel at that time. On one side, the river was J&L. On the other side was Republic Steel. So consequently, back then, they did not have to give you your job back. And as I say, with my 6 months training in the Marine Corps Reserve, while I was in there, I got a letter from the president of J&L saying, hey, you were only here for 89 days and then you were gone to the Marine Corps. So we're going to give you your job back when you get out. They didn't have to at that time. A good employee. So I got out in February of 67. And at that time, jobs were plentiful. So I called J&L, says, look, let me have at least a week off. And I took the week off and I went to Republic Steel across the river and I got a job there at Republic Steel.
All right. That's what you're doing on your day off, huh? Looking for a better paying job. All righty.
And that afternoon, I went to a place called East Ohio Gas, the first Black meter reader. His name was Conrad Hayes. I knew him well. Consequently, Conrad told me, go to the gas company, tell them that I sent you. So I went to the gas company and told them Conrad Hayes had sent me and got a job there at the gas company. Well, I was new and young, and with the steel mills, after 1 year, you got 12 weeks vacation. That's
good. I'm sure it was much deserved too, working in a steel mill.
Oh,
yes, yes.
So they were trying to convince me, hey, come to the steel mill. Well, I needed some money. Steel mills was paying $2.53 an hour. Gas company, they were paying $2.54. Now, I might be stupid, but I ain't totally crazy. I said, gee, that's 40 cents a week. That's $1.60 a month. And that's how I ended up at the gas company.
All right. All right.
Not looking at what has happened over the years to the steel mills, so far as the various stoppages they had and how pension as well as medical benefits have been taken from the workers at the mill. But
yes,
I ended up there.
Many of them are gone. Many of them are gone. Absolutely. I knew a number of young men, you know, right out of high school, working at Republic Steel or, you know, LTV Steel, you know, and many people decided that was not where they wanted to spend their careers. It was hard work, you know, really hard work. Yes, yes, yes. So you're at the gas company. All right. So there for a number of years. So tell us about your journey in the gas company.
Well, I started at the gas company February 7th, 1968. And you had to be there once again, at that time, 90 days to be in the union. So I got my 90 days in and start going to the union meetings.
All right.
And upon going to the union meetings, I didn't see any people that looked like me.
Mm.
So I said to some of the older blacks, why don't you all run for office? And their response, oh, well, we can't win. Well,
Mm.
I watched the system from 1968 to 72. I start going to community college for labor law and other labor classes, because I knew that if I ran and won, I'd have to be sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So in March of 1972, March 27th was supposed to be the election, and I was the first person ever to have literature printed up. This is not any of the literature. I should have had one of those pieces, but consequently, so what did they do?
Uh-oh.
At
Okay.
the,
There you
how
are.
to cut that off. At the union meeting, I had someone nominate me to run for union representative. And they said, well, you got, at that time, you had to have somebody, I thought you had to have someone second. But to all of you on this call, always remember, you do not need a second when you are nominated for anything. Robert's Rules of Orders, which I'm very good at.
I'm sure you are.
You don't need a second. Well, guy in front of me, one of my brothers, sleeping, I kicked this chair and hollered at him, get up and second my nomination. So he jumps up, half asleep, and the chairman was getting ready to hit the gavel 3 times, and 3 times you're out. So consequently, he jumps up, says, I nominate Al Foster for union rep. And fight was on.
That was it.
Fight was on.
Mm-hmm.
5 people in the race. You could vote for 2 out of the 5. I spread word throughout the gas company. Vote 1 and only 1. The Randall shop out on Miles, the Wycliffe shop out in Wycliffe. The main office was downtown, the west side, and I was at East 55th, where the gas company had blown up back in the 40s because there was liquefied natural gas on the company property at the time. The picture on the right, almost on the left, almost got me kicked out the Marine Corps. I was running for sergeant at arms. And consequently, I said, well, I'm a real sergeant. I'm the gunny. I knew what the rules were. We see a commercial on TV now, but the person with that commercial is smart enough not to show any rank. But as you see, on my shoulder are my chevrons. And one of my opponent knew, and he called and got in touch with the Marine Corps. And I told him that, oh, that's not really my uniform. That's from a costume shop. So I got away with that.
Okay.
The one at the bottom, East Ohio Gas's sun doesn't shine on its Black employees. As I reiterate, I've always been fighting for the underdog. And at the gas company, we didn't have any Black, what's called customer servicemen, guys that go in your house and whatnot. Yeah. So I had facts from the EEOC to back up what I was saying, so the company couldn't fire me. They put me on a list, and I'll just throw the initials out there, and at another time, someone can ask me what they mean. They put me on a list after there were 200 calling posts sold that Thursday in the main office.
Yes, he passed.
That was in red letters, that East Ohio Gas.
Oh, interesting.
It was in red, and consequently, I'm laughing because they put me on a list called the DFWM list.
Okay.
Don't F with him list.
Oh, okay.
Because as time went on, I did end up suing and winning against the gas company when they accused me of something that hadn't happened. The other picture with myself and Eileen Lang. Eileen became the first woman president, and I became the first Black president of our union. When you all think of East Ohio, you think here in Cleveland. East Ohio, Akron, Canton, Warren, Youngstown, Conneaut, Ashtabula, Dover, New Philadelphia. And now, since I've retired 19 years ago, they've expanded into Marietta, Ohio. And as most of you know, it's now called Dominion, out of Richmond, Virginia, right to work state, where when I was the head negotiator, I'd point my finger and tell them, the stuff you do in Virginia, you cannot come up here and do. And they learned that don't mess with us.
Here we are, and this is
Yeah.
okay. Can anybody find Al?
They don't know where I'm at.
Tell us about this picture, Al.
This was the picture of all the representatives from all the various areas that I talked about. The man in the middle next to Eileen, that is Bill McCarthy. Bill was the president of the union for we got Bill in. When I say we, I mean the Black people. We just like they voted for me in March, his election was in April. So I told him, just like you all came and voted for me, let's get Bill in there, because we had a president that had been doing nothing for nobody. So we got Bill in, and consequently we developed a good relationship. But then naturally, I was not satisfied just to be a representative. I ran against Bill a couple of times. I lost, but I learned a lot. And I started going down south to where the good old boys, every month I'd be at their meeting. Election time comes, I beat Bill. And they're wondering, how did he beat us down here? Well, when election time came, they said, well, must be election time. Here they come. Oh, yeah, we ain't talking about you. You're here every month. When I'd go down there, I'd go with my cowboy boots, my cowboy hat, and their refreshments had buckshots in it, because Al got, watch out, we shot this rabbit and it's got some buckshots in it. Well, that was okay. I got to get with the good old boys down there. When I came up here, naturally it was suit and tie. But yeah, it was a great time.
Good. I just want to bring to everybody's attention, at some point, the AFL did not even, the AFL excluded Black people completely, decades before you came into the union. So the work you did really was piggybacking on a long time when African Americans were not even in the AFL. So it was important that you were there and the work that you did. So who are these? Who are these folks? We might recognize a few.
These are our union officers, myself as the executive vice president, Eileen as the executive president, Randy Tucker, who was the business manager out of North Canton, Ohio, Jim Prentice, who was our treasurer, Randy Stocker out of Youngstown. Randy became the councilman and mayor of Struthers, Ohio, down there in Youngstown.
Okay.
And my good friend, Jimmy DeMora. And I say that because anytime I needed Jimmy to do something for me, or if I sent someone down to the county, I'd ask Jimmy and Jane, because they were the commissioners there, please consider hiring this person. Okay. And they would. And then once my good friend Peter Lawson Jones, who is on this call, got in, the same thing. And Peter and I, as I say, when the FBI went into the county building that day, I was driving Peter around because I was retired, and Peter being my friend, Peter showing me how to win in Shaker. But consequently, I said, Peter, are you in or are you out? Peter said, Al, I'm out. I have nothing to do with any of it.
Mhm.
I pulled the car over to the curb and said, Peter, look me in the eye. Peter looked me in the eye. And he said, Al, I'm out. And as we all know, unfortunately, those who were got in trouble, but Peter Lawson Jones was not, is not, will never be one of those that got
Absolutely.
in trouble.
Thank you for being here with us this evening, Peter. So you are at the gas company, and then it seems like you already have political aspirations because you're doing that inside your job at the gas company, but we know that you also entered politics, within, even before you're running for council in Shaker Heights. So tell us about your first political aspirations here.
Well, that on the left is Alan D. Foster, who was running for councilman in the Huff area after Carrie Kane, the councilwoman, had passed.
Mm.
I had flyers, as you see. I had matchbooks. That's
Yeah.
what that yellow is.
Book, yes.
That's the front of the matchbook, and then that ugly picture of me graduating from high school is the back of the matchbook. And I had them put in all the cigarette machines in the Huff area and anywhere where they would do that. I see what Peter's put. So yes, that was 1975.
Okay.
And I emphasize that because as we'll go on, I'll tell you why I emphasize that, but that was 1975. Being single, I used at the gas company, we would have a bonus every year. So I said, well, okay, next year I'm going to use my bonus and I'm going to run for council. And I did, and had one fundraiser, and I'm laughing because we made, after paying the band and for the hall, I had about $50 that I made.
That should have taught you a lesson.
Oh, it did.
Yes, yes, yes.
It taught me a lesson, but as we continue on, I'll tell you what lesson it taught me.
All righty. All righty. So this was not the end of your political career, obviously. We know that. We know that. So we're going to move on to your next step in your political life. And all of us know that you served on council for several years here in Shaker. So tell us how this all began.
Well, that was in 1975, the first run for any political office. This is 1995.
Okay.
As you see, I think it says that down. Yeah, it does. November 7th, 1995.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always preach to young people about continuing their goals and objectives in life. Even though I didn't win in 1975, in 1995, so many good people like Earlene Hooper, Joanne Perkins, Netta Berman, Lillian Taylor, and Jim and Mary Taylor, and so many others in the Moreland area. I became the president. We combined the two groups. It was Moreland on the Move and Moreland Community Association.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Myself and others, we worked and we made it into one group. And once we combined them into one group, they needed a leader. And I was the one that was selected to be the president of the Moreland on the Move Community Association. And the one at the top is Al Foster City Council 2-year term. There was a 2-year term and there was the 4-year term.
Mm-hmm.
The 2-year term came about when David Goss retired. He went to one of the Cleveland organizations. I can't remember which one it is. And consequently, they appointed a man named Lawrence Nichols His daughter is Alexis Nichols, who
Yeah.
is head of the recreation department.
I used to work with Lawrence. I sure did.
Oh,
At Cleveland
that's
State.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because he came from Cleveland State, but he lived in the Moreland area, and they wanted someone that lived in the Moreland area. And by him being a professor, he was well qualified. So came time, in the bottom left is after I had won the first time and was running for re-election. The bottom right is my good friend. It is passed on, Patricia Mearns.
Yes, yes. Many of us remember her. Pat Mearns, Mayor
Pat,
Mearns.
she was a wonderful mayor. She knew all the workers and their family. And her and I, we had so much in common because I had no real college degrees and she didn't either. But like Ted, her husband, told her, and so many others told her, Pat, you know how to organize people. And we had good relationships there. That's the picture of city council. And Stephanie Turner, who is down under me, she decided to go for the 4-year. So I said, well, I'll go for the 2 because I didn't feel that 2 Blacks could win going for the 4-year term. So she went for the 4, I went for the 2. Lawrence Nichols did not campaign that day. He went on to work because he had gotten all the endorsements, but the Sun Press and so many others. But as I say, endorsements don't vote, people do. So Stephanie got in. As I say, David Weiss, as you see, who is now the present mayor,
He'd
is
appreciate you in this picture. Too bad he's not on with us today.
Yeah,
well,
as I say, he did not run for re-election, and I always wondered why. So when he ran for election this time, him and I had a heart-to-heart conversation, and what he told me is I did not know, and so many other people didn't know. His wife, Erica, who owned the coffee shop that was up near Lucy's Sweet Surrender.
Right.
Erica had, I think it was breast cancer or some kind of cancer. And so that's why he didn't run. And I said, David, now I know, and now I can tell that story to people that are criticizing you for only running for 1 term. Next to David, as you see, is Judy Rawson, recent mayor as well. Next to her is Jan Devereaux. Under Jan is Ken Kovach, who was the senior member of council. Next to me was Maggie Jorgensen. Maggie was a wonderful person as well. We Shaker always have and still does have good public officials.
Absolutely. And just once people are involved, they're involved forever.
Yes.
I mean, we're familiar with, well, David Weiss is the mayor now. I mean, once you're in, you're in. Thank you.
And the one quick thing, as I say, as we saw where it said re-elect, well, you might, I think there's some in there that'll say return, because I'm the only council person. Okay, none of those are the ones, but I'm the only council person to run for re-election and lose. And there it is.
Here we are.
And run and win again.
Yes.
People said, oh, he's got to be crazy. He's lost already. He can't win again. But there were so many people, Black, white, rich, poor, because in Shaker, we have no wards, and it works better for us. People wanted me to do what they did in Euclid, Ohio, and make Shaker have wards. And I said, I can't do that. I've won under the present system twice. So as I say, that's when I returned. Go, what you say, Donna?
I said everything is at large. All the candidates run at large. So it's important for the entire community to know who they're voting for. You represent the entire city.
That's right. I never had fundraisers in the Shaker races, and I'm laughing because I probably first time it was $1,500. I think I had the cheapest campaign ever ran. And it was all monies donated by unions and the Sam Millers and the Al Learners and so many of the people that had money. But Pat told me the concern was, yeah, Pat, you're telling us both for that guy, but he's a union man. That didn't go over well, but Pat told him, yeah, he is, but he's honest and he's fair. And once they talked to some of the higher ups at the gas company, they did learn that, yeah, he's a union man, but he's honest and he's fair.
People on your side. Well, I know we have quite a few more pictures to go through. So tell us who's here. This is your second term.
Yes, this is, I'm laughing because it's the second term after I had lost. And then as the newspaper article said, Al Foster returns to Shaker Council. And this is when Earl Lycan, who is in the middle of Nancy Moore and Brian Gleiser, became the mayor. And Earl supported me from day one when I wanted to be the vice mayor of the city. Of 7, you needed, you really needed 4, but I had 5 votes. I just didn't have 2 of the council person's votes. But the day when it came to vote, they unanimously voted for me as the vice mayor. Earl and I, we still have a wonderful relationship, all of them there. And our good friend on the far left, Lynn Ruffner, was a wonderful council person, and she was an expert on ADA accessible facilities. The Lord called Lynn home.
And I told you, Lynn and I are cousins.
That's right. Yes, yes.
My cousin.
Yes. And then Earl Williams on the far right, my good friend Rob Zimmerman, who just retired from council, I think it was this year. Jim Brady, myself, Lynn Ruffner, Brian Gleiser, who is, I think Brian is with the planning department of Richmond Heights. As I say, Earl and Nancy Moore. And it's so funny, Earl and Nancy Moore were members of the school board.
Yes.
And I say that to say, Earl and Nancy were on the school board when schools had to be closed. Earl told me, he said, Al, we closed them and we knew we'd never get elected again. And he's right. But that's what I tell people. That's what leaders do. Leaders don't do. Leaders don't do what's popular. They do what's right. Yeah, we hated to see the Moreland School go. My Cub Scouts on the last day when it was Moreland School, they from Eastview Church took the flag down. Miss Perkins was there that particular day, and so many others. Reverend Lassiter, who's passed on, so many others. But that's what leaders do, I say. Don't do what's popular.
Can I ask you, Al, to focus, keep yourself inside the frame of the camera, okay? Okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, so let's move on. We have quite a few more stories to tell. So let's see where we are here. Where are we? This is, okay, bringing us back to, you said Scouts in Moreland. So these, some people may recognize these men.
The one on the left is the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Newsome, number 82, wide receiver of the Cleveland Browns. My other half, my wife, and Joanne Dawson, they had a 6th grade graduation dinner. And I asked Ozzie, who worked for the gas company, to be the guest speaker.
This is at Moreland Elementary.
This was, as you see, it says Moreland grads.
Right.
Even though you aren't supposed to talk about religion in schools, Ozzie right there is talking about God. And he gave all the students a poem that he had written. The one on the right is Curtis Weathers, also a member of the Browns. And he was with the, at Eastview when I was involved in Cub Scouting with the Blue and Gold dinner, it was called.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yes.
was in charge of the Girl Scouts and the brownies there.
I think we have some pictures of your scouts. And there they are.
Yes, I hope that I'm still focused, but as you see, Ozzie Newsome once again came to my rescue. I asked him and he came as a guest speaker. The young lady in the pink is my daughter,
Oh, nice.
Ella Sherrill McCree, who I love and call the warden.
Yes.
Dad, what are you doing out of the house? You get back in the house when the virus first started. The little fellow there with the Cub Scouts uniform on is my son and namesake, Alan David Foster Jr., and he will tell you, and don't forget the junior. And he wants his own identity, and I love that about him. Even Sherrill, as we affectionately call her, she's gotten involved in Beechwood politics, and at first she was Al Foster's daughter. Well, now she's got her own identity.
All right. And here,
3rd of May, she's going to be a precinct person because as long as she votes for herself.
Following in her
The one on the right is, as you see, wonderful Dr. Valentino Lassiter and myself with one of the Cub Scout affairs.
Yes, dearly loved pastor of Eastview.
Yes.
Eastview Church. We miss him.
The one on the
familiar face. We should all know who this is.
Yes, that's the Honorable Wayne Dawson, who I also had as one of my speakers at the Blue and Gold Cub Scout dinner. And I'm laughing. The letter in the middle is from the East Ohio Gas Company. When we convinced the East Ohio Gas they did not give Eastview a van. They sold Eastview a van, and you could not see it, but they sold them a van for $1 because they never wanted to say they gave anybody a van. I was also on the Police Athletic League board, and East Ohio sold the Police Athletic League a van for $1 as well. As you see, that is Alan shaking hands with Wayne Dawson.
Yes, that's nice. That's very.
And I'm real quick. So comes time for Alan, 11 years old. Okay, we're going to Boy Scout. Yeah, Dad likes scouting and going out in the tents and all. And Alan says, Dad, I don't really want to go to Boy Scouts. I was only in Cub Scouts for you.
Oh.
I wanted to choke them because I didn't bring the paper home saying join the boys, the Cub Scouts, but I enjoyed it. And even after he left, I still stayed because so many of those young men, I was the only male that they saw in their life. When they went home, they saw mother and sister. When they went to school, they saw a teacher who was in most cases a female.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I stayed.
So while you were working with the Cub Scouts, Ms. Perkins, you were working with the Girl Scouts, right? Or you were Cub Scouts too, right? I know your husband was Cub Scout leader.
Yes.
Okay, what do we have? What do we have? Yes, so we have, just to introduce these photos, there are a number of photos with you and a number of very distinguished people. So if you could share with us these occasions.
This was a labor affair with my good friend who has made her transition, Stephanie Tubbs Jones, at one of our labor affairs. The next picture on the far end next to Stephanie was Andy Stern, who was the president of my SEIU union that I was a member of for 35 years. Then Stephanie, then John Kerry, who was running for president at that time, the Honorable Louis Stokes, and myself. Stephanie would get me there to, this is her 11th Congressional District Caucus. We might have been the 21st district then, and I think we were, to get me there always to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, very nice. Mhm. Some more
It's
faces.
Armin Budish, who has been a good friend and who I've supported from the time when he ran for state representative down in Columbus many times. And this is at another labor fair. Danita Harris and myself, and as you see on my lapel is
Yeah.
a pink ribbon,
Mhm.
because Medical Mutual every year would have Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they would always invite me and Moreland people. And as a matter of fact, Miss Hooper was one of the people that was honored
Oh,
by Medical Mutual one particular year.
wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Myself and the Honorable Jane Campbell, and as you see, this was at the same affair where myself and Stephanie were earlier in the earlier picture. This is the Honorable retired Beechwood Mayor Merle Gordon and my Mama Leonard, who years ago, my mother and father lived together, but the landlord's rules was no children.
Mm.
It was legal. So they had to find somewhere for myself, my brother, my sister to live. So they found a place out in Maple Heights. And Mama Leonard and Daddy Richard took us in. Mama Leonard that was her 104th birthday.
Nice.
I called the mayor of Beechwood's office. I never say this is Councilman Al Foster. I said, hey, this is Al Foster. I want the mayor to come to my mother's 104-year-old birthday. Well, they said, oh, yeah, we'll send somebody. So and Bernice Washington, Dr. Bernice Washington, who was a good friend of mine, she would set the party up every year for Mama Leonard from her age of 100. Consequently, Merle Gordon, on her 104th birthday, we're getting ready to have the party. Who comes walking down the hall but Merle Gordon?
Oh, nice. Nice.
Al, why didn't you say Councilman Al Foster? And I laughed at him. I said, Merle, titles are meaningless unless people can do something to help somebody with that title.
Yes, and this was family. This was family so generous of she and her husband to take you in. And the landlord did not let children live there. That's an interesting story in itself.
It was legal then. No kids. There was room.
A lot was legal back when, for sure. Absolutely.
Room for us, but no kids.
Yes.
Find somewhere for us.
Okay, here we are. See, I found the picture.
You all don't know what Don is talking about. There's the picture of my good friend and mentor, Peter Lawson Jones, who taught me everything about running for office in Shaker Heights when I first ran. And this is at Lou's funeral outside of Olivet Church before he went in. The one on the left is our Congresswoman, Chantel Brown. And on the right is my daughter, Ella Sherrill McCray. And as I say, Chantel, I started with her when she first ran for county office, as the county representative. And she's always been, and even now, anytime I've asked her to help me out, some months ago, my other child, my daughter, knew people at the nursing home, so I wanted my daughter to look good. So I called Chantel, and Kim came out to her nursing home. And then my good friend, State Senator Kenny Yuko, he came out there. And I say that to say that's why I respond to public officials. And that's why I don't charge them any money when you all see me standing out there in front of Stephanie Tubbs and I'm not running. I'm there to help those who have helped me.
Oh, I've been out there with you sometimes when you weren't running.
Yes, you have with the
you weren't running
levies.
for office.
Yeah, as I say, I'm not. I got paid once, and it was by my good friend who I helped, Ann Williams, and I didn't ask for it, but I didn't refuse it because hey, that's how it is.
All right, all right. What else do we have coming up here? Nice picture of you and Peter. Oh, we have a few plaques and a story here with the pictures on the left.
Pictures on the left, my good friend, Michael Jackson. And I say that to say, Michael was going to run for judge, and with the old Starbucks that is now gone, he met with me like so many people have in the past. And at that time, Michael Jackson, the real other Michael Jackson, was alive. And I said, well, Michael, you know, if you run, you cannot use Michael Jackson because of the stigma connected with the real Michael Jackson. I said, you got to use Mike Jackson. Well, the years went on, and unfortunately, Michael Jackson passed. And Michael came back to me. Well, he said, you know, I want to be on the Shaker Democratic Club. I said, well, Michael, I'm going to resign next year, and I'll make sure that you get appointed. And Michael did get appointed. And he, being a Vietnam combat Marine that knew how to expel leadership, they realized that in the Shaker Democratic Club, and they made him the president. And then after that, Michael decides to run for judge. And I said, well, Michael, now you can say elect Michael Jackson. So we're in Murray Hill, and I'm driving that van, and it's all decorated, and I'm hollering, vote for Michael Jackson. Anywhere we went, out in Fairview Park, wherever. Oh, Michael's dead. Michael's dead. I said, no, he's in the parade back there. And Michael Jackson was smart enough to be marching and had a white glove on his hand. That on the right is the Shaker.
I don't mean to just interrupt you, but I know we have quite a few more slides to go. So I want to make sure that you, have a chance to explain to us what's in them, but I just want
I'm going to be quick because quick, fast, and in a hurry. That one is from the Shaker Democratic Club.
Want to give us time for questions too, or comments from our audience.
The one on the left, I was a mechanic, did body work and everything at the gas company. The one is the 30-year plaque from my gas workers union. The two that say Alan Foster are from the MJD group of my union, people that really supported me. I can't see what the one, and the one that we can't see is leadership Cleveland class, the best class ever. Those that have been in any leadership Cleveland class, you always say the best class, the class of 2000. And that other one, as I say, okay, these two are near and dear to my heart. I had thought my oldest son thrown them away. I just apologized to him, I think yesterday. I'm the only person that'll probably ever have two plaques from Shaker Heights City Hall, because as I reiterate earlier, I'm the only person to ever run and win and then lose. And I always kid people and say, be stupid enough to run and win again. But the one is from Judy Rawson on the left side. The one on the right side is from my good friend, Earl Lycan. That one is a picture that the library took to inspire people to read. And I'm really appreciative of that book. And I've been telling Kevin Madison, I need his uncle's autograph. That one there is Stephanie Tubbs Jones, and that's from the Stonewall Democrats. The Cleveland City, the Shaker Heights Council, we were the first group to get the Stephanie Tubbs Award because what we had done that year we made same-sex couples in Shaker Heights be able to have benefits.
I remember that.
That one there is the Leadership Cleveland Award.
The best class, right?
Yes, best class ever. You're right now.
Is that our last slide? Oh, here we are. Oh, yes, this is a wonderful picture. Yes, everybody may not recognize this gentleman in the middle, but many people will. Anybody, well, I was going to say, anybody want to put the name of who that is in the chat? Okay, tell us who this is, Al.
This is one of the foremost Blacks in America in the labor movement. His name is Asa, A-S-A, Philip Randolph. Like Donna was saying earlier, the AFL-CIO was not always kind to Blacks in the labor movement. A. Philip Randolph made it where they respected him. The one on, nice looking young lady, is my wife, Ella. Earlier that day, A. Philip Randolph saw her and he says, "Young lady, tonight when I come down to the ball, I want you to be the first person I dance with." Okay, Peter. And consequently, he came down and he looked and saw my wife, Ella, and he says, "Young man, may I dance with her?" And I said, "Of course you can. Who was I to tell A. Philip Randolph, no, you can't dance with her?" And we've always appreciated that picture.
Just the honor of being in his presence had to have just been powerful.
Last week, I'm cleaning out stuff in my basement at home on Menlo, and I found a book that Bayard Rustin had written. I didn't have Bayard Rustin's autograph.
Oh my goodness.
Have A. Philip Randolph's
autograph. Yes, cherish that forever.
Yes.
Forever. Wonderful. Wonderful. Is that our last slide? Oh, no, here we have, oh no, I can think of the rest of them. Who is this distinguished gentleman here? I don't think everyone will know who this is.
No, they don't, but this distinguished gentleman was one of my wonderful leaders when I ran for consul in Shaker Heights. I met him when I was filing charges against the gas company. That is the Honorable Chester Gray, who was head of the EEOC here in Cleveland, in front of Judson Manor on, I'll say 107th in Chester. That day, him, I, and Dr. Lassiter had just been downtown to see Frank Jackson get sworn in for the first time.
Oh, nice.
And, I took Chester home.
Yes, many of us remember Mr. Gray. Yes.
Yes, and as I told Donna the other day, and I'm going to be quick as I say, so many people remember Shorter Drugstore. Well, after Mr. Shorter passed on, Chester married Mr. Shorter's wife. And you all might remember there were then Gray drugstores. That is who Gray drugstores were named after. That's all.
Okay, I think we have one more slide, again with Mr. Gray in it.
Oh, yes.
Group picture. Yes, yes, yes. This one, many people will recognize familiar faces in this picture.
This picture is so near and dear to my heart because it's the old SWITA, SWITA organization. SWITA, and I always like to say acronyms, but I always like to tell what it stands for. SWITA stands for Southwest Investment Target Area. That's what the Moreland area was called at that particular time. There's my good friend,
Carl Green. Above is Jan Devereaux.
Mhm.
Down next to Carl is Netta Berman, who once she went to Montefiore, she made it possible where when anything happened where she fell, call Al Foster. That's our good friend, Bobby O'Neill, our
Yeah.
good friend, Chester Gray, Mary Taylor, Lillian Taylor. Above her is Mary, wait a minute, that's Mary Thompson down there.
Fitting.
And then Lillian Gray, and in back of Lillian is Mary Taylor that still is on Shelburne. My good friend who is still with the city, Joyce Braverman, and my ugly face. And then I can't remember her name, but she went to school with my cousin, the wonderful Carl Harris.
Yes, Peter helped us with that. Minnie Marshall. Yes,
Yes,
I was trying to
thank you,
remember her
thank
name
you,
too.
thank you,
I remember.
thank
I
you,
can't remember.
thank you, Peter.
Mhm.
And then in the back is the wonderful Carolyn Garvin, and I can't see who that is.
Yes, this is
Yes.
a wonderful picture.
Yes,
So many people.
yes. Many of them have made the transition, but they were
Yeah.
all wonderful people that helped me in my life. And
Absolutely.
even in the library, there's the Moreland Room because we gave the Coretta Scott King book to the library every year.
Mm.
And
Yeah, and Peter's comments, so many wonderful photos of
thank
so
you, Peter.
many extraordinary men and women who have crossed the bar. Yes. And I just want to bring this note here, just to go back a little bit where, I don't know if you saw the note where Pam says, Pam Fletcher says, my father worked for Shotter's Drug Store.
Wow, no, I didn't see that, Pam. Wonderful,
Wonderful.
wonderful. As I said when I was talking with y'all, there's so many fires. There's so many fires that I've been warmed by that I did not like, but I've been warmed by them. As I told the hecklers, meaning my Shaker Heights police fellas that put on there about, tell them about the time that I flew the kite and discovered electricity. Tell them when me and my buddy went on the boat and took the animals 2 by 2. I tell them about the time at the park where I got in trouble and so many things. And I tell people, yes, I was arrested one night right across from the Shaker Hotel. I slept there a couple of times because I am a grateful recovering alcoholic. My father died of it, my mother died of it, and had I not gone to Laurelwood, I would have been next. And I tell politicians, you tell your story. Don't let it be a whispering campaign. Hey, did you hear? Yeah, he told us. When we'd be on city council floor talking about the various drugs, I said, well, mine was alcohol. 151 Ron Rico. And I could tell the difference, Ron Rico and the Bacardis. Go ahead.
I want to ask you, because you bring that up, and there's one slide I think we do have where you were pardoned.
Oh, yes.
And so tell us about this. So you're saying, tell your own story.
That's right. That's right.
Own story.
Oh, yeah. This is when, I always tell people I like to play attorney. I'm no attorney, but I wrote out the part and did it myself. And Ted Strickland was leaving office. Consequently, I'm retired, so I went down to the parole board. The young lady in charge says, oh, you're from Shaker Heights. Do you know Peter Lawson Jones? And my chest sticking out. Yeah, I know Peter Lawson Jones. She says, yeah, well, he gave me one of the best termination letters that I ever got. I said, uh-oh. So, and I told Peter about it, and yeah, he remembered the young lady, but I was pardoned by Governor Ted Strickland on his last day in office, and I'm appreciative of that. And I tell people all the time, there's so many things that you can do yourself if you only try.
Absolutely, you are certainly an example of that to us all. Certainly. I want to ask anybody, and we have, actually, that was Lisa Payne Jones, Peter's wife, who said Minnie Marshall. Yes, we remember Minnie.
Oh, good.
Yes, and I don't want to miss anybody's comments here. Thanks for sharing from Bertina. Thanks for sharing. What a wonderful life of service. And Dion Huffman, this was so inspiring, such an amazing example of courage and commitment. Yes, yes, yes. Al, you are such a treasure, from Peter. I have truly enjoyed your stories and photos. You know, I value your friendship. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Oh, that's from Lisa. I'm okay. Is your name on more than one? Okay, don't put me behind the microphone here. Okay. All right. Any other shout outs or questions anybody wants to share?
Yes.
Ask Al while you have
Yes.
him here.
This is Earlene Hooper.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
a wonderful friend.
First of all, I want to thank you, Donna. This
Oh,
has been
sure.
a great day in the lives of the Hooper household, because we were on pins and needles waiting for Al to be honored. He is certainly an honest and caring person. And I don't know of anyone who lives in two places, and he's always serving anytime you ask him. When I think of any person who has done something, uh, whether it's good or bad, I have to call Al. He has never turned our family down, and I mean the whole family, even though the girls don't live here, they call on Al. He is a loving person, and he has done, I'm so glad that he is being recognized this evening, because he deserves recognition for all that you've talked about, plus a lot more. And I'm sure the other people have things to say. Sam wants to say a word.
No, just thank you, Al. You know, you rock, you know, and you've been such a stalwart friend of our family for so many years. We're very, very appreciative. We congratulate you for this recognition. Paul and Emily send their congratulations too. You deserve every bit of it, and it's wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
I appreciate it from both of you, because you all are some of the wonderful people that have supported me over the years. And like, you know your phone number. So all of you.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Amen.
We know yours too. You know that.
I want to
Hey,
make
Al, this is James. I just wanted to say thank you so much and congratulations. Well deserved.
Yes.
I remember when we needed you back in 1990 something. When we first moved to Moreland. You're one of the first people that, you know, that held a position, and you made such a great first impression. I had never forgotten what you've done for us. So through the years, so thank you so much.
And always so humble and down to earth.
Yes.
I thank you all as well, because the florist that was in back on the other side of the fence. Yeah, I still remember that story. And I appreciate you all. Hey, Pam, go ahead.
Hey, I just want to say thank you so very much. I told my children, I said, you know, I have a cousin in Seattle who they call the mayor of Seattle. I said, well, you know, Al Foster, he's the mayor of Moreland. Everybody knows Al and Moreland. And as everybody else has said, you are the person who is always there to help. You have been helpful to me in so many ways, so many times. And I just want to say thank you for truly being one of the first people I met when I came to Moreland, and one of the most reliable people I know in Moreland. Thank you for everything.
I thank you, Pam. Thank you so much.
Marty,
And it's
you have your
always a
hand up.
pleasure.
Marty, did you have your hand up?
Yes. Again, you know, there's a special connection with me, Al, and several other individuals on the Zoom link here. We have breakfast periodically. I think for the last, well, with the exception of yesterday, we been having breakfast, I don't know, since December, you know, and we hear Al, and, you know, it's just a pleasure being with him. And it's an honor.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Marty, but it's combat vets like Marty that have helped me along the way. And I say that because Marty's a combat vet like Michael Jackson. Marty was in the Afghanistan war. Am I right, Marty?
But no, and Desert
Iraq,
Storm, the
Iraq,
original
Iraq.
Desert Storm.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. The original Desert Storm. Marty was and still is a tank commander. And he's one of my hecklers that Donna and John have seen some of the things, but it's all in fun. And Marty's the vice president of Shaker Travel Club. We have gone to see various football games. In November, we were down in Cincinnati and we beat Cincy. I think it was 2 years ago, we went on up to Baltimore, busloads of, and we beat the Baltimore Ravens. And as I said, every time we've gone, but wait a minute, that doggone Marty and what they did to me, they gave me a surprise birthday party, and Marty said they were going to have the dancing girls. And I told him, Marty, don't waste your money on that. They had a big sheet cake with the Marine Corps emblem and my name and all, and they surprised me. They had two of my grandsons come down. One came from Cleveland, one came from Columbus, and surprised old granddad. And my grandson's girlfriend, here's the entertainment. So I look around and there they are. I had tears in my eyes, but it was wonderful. And as I said, the good thing about all the trips, we've beaten the teams that we've gone. So it wasn't never a quiet bus ride back.
I don't know if you can see all these wonderful comments.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's Quintella Draper. Thanks for sharing and such commitment to public service. I enjoyed your pictures and stories. We have Seal. You shared a wealth of information regarding residents' rights for my library court neighbors. Thank you. And here's from Iris Anderson. Al, you have been such a great neighbor. Did you get to mention that you were on the Citizens Auxiliary Police? It's a pleasure to know you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, because I was talking with a friend of mine this morning. I said, I forgot about the Citizens Police. I forgot about Hannah Perkins. I forgot about the Police Athletic League. There's so many things that the Lord has been made possible for me to do. I can't say them all.
Well, just mention.
Thank you, Iris.
I know there's so much more. Virginia Patterson, thank you, Uncle, for your amazing contribution, sacrifices, and service to the people.
That's from Augusta, Georgia.
You be about that good trouble. Georgia loves you. Much love, Jen. And from C. Yarborough, Al, in the short time I have known you, what a privilege and an honor knowing you. Henry, that's from Henry. And I don't know who this is. Oh, this is from one of your children. Very proud of you, Dad. Glad to see you receive your flowers now. And then from
that's the warden.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. We've gotten to know you. And then Mel, Gwen, and Tina, God bless you and your family. You are an awesome person. And then from Theodore Darden, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story with us this evening. You're a real trailblazer and inspiration. I'd be honored if you could write me a letter of recommendation.
And I will.
Brandon E. Happy to do it.
That's grandson.
Oh, okay.
Shout out.
Shout out. Okay, see, I don't know abbreviations. I'm
George Eaton's nephew.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Marty for making it happen. Always proud of you, Granddad. And Megan, great story. So much Shaker history. Absolutely. Amen. Peter Lawson Jones. Al also served as precinct leader and on the Democratic Party Executive Committee for many, many years. And this is from Lisa. Okay, it's from Lisa. Yes. Anybody else want to chime in? So many accolades here. You're just wonderful, Al. People have been waiting for you.
Oh, I know.
Tell your story.
To roast me. And so I took the change of address card down to the Board of Election on a Monday, and Tuesday morning, the ink hadn't even dried on the paper. I get an email saying, hey, you're now appointed to the South Euclid Executive Committee. I said, wow, here I'm trying to get out of stuff. And I am still with the Citizens Police with the city, and we'll be patrolling on the 25th.
And John, oh, okay. And so you're trying to get out of stuff. That's okay. We won't pay any attention to the fact that you said that. All right. Okay, we'll just ignore that comment. This was absolutely wonderful. Now, one thing you didn't say, you mentioned grandchildren. How many grandchildren do you have?
Well, I have 6 grandsons, 4 great-grandsons, and 1 diva that has a shirt that says, I'm granddad's favorite. Grandson, Sean, Brandon, Cameron, that's 3. Braylon, Tavon, and Big D, Darian.
All right.
And then the great-grandsons, wow. Jadian, then there's,
well, they're
the Chunky Man, and then there's the brand new one by Cameron, and that is Mason. And yes, there are 4 of them. And then the diva is Albany Rain Foster.
Okay. The diva, she has her place. She
Yes.
has her place. And George says, great stories, great life, and you have a great family. Thank you, Al, for sharing. That's from George Eaton.
Well, part of the family is his. The 2 grandsons, the Eatons, Brandon and Braylon.
All right. Well, this has been absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Anybody else want to say anything before we, go off and enjoy the rest of our evening? We're so full, Al. We're so full. Thank you so much for being our guest on Witness to History this evening. And
hey, Donna,
yes.
I would just like to thank Al for the unrelenting support that he has given to me and to Lisa in all our various careers, endeavors, and ventures. You are a true and authentic friend, one of a kind, and we love you, man.
Thank you so much, Peter, but I wouldn't be where I'm at if it hadn't been for you meeting with me at yours truly. And as I said, I'm being warmed by fires that I didn't like. It's people like you that helped me become people like myself. As I say, 1975, I lost. 1995, I won. And that's why I tell young people, continue your goals and your objectives in life. As I say, I thank the Lord for him letting me, Judge Donaldson, sending me to the alcohol treatment center. I told him, if you let me out, I'll be okay. But, send me to treatment. And he did. And I was in there for 28 days, best 28 days of my life. I learned about the disease, how it's a hereditary disease. As I say, how it killed my mother, how it killed my father, how I was next. But it's been about 37 years and I've not had a drink.
Look at you. A life of service, teaching us all. Thank you so much, Al.
Did we have that one of Peter getting the Martin Luther King Award, John?
I don't know. Do we see that? Okay, I don't think John could. John?
No, I've got it. Just give me a second.
Okay, there.
Yes.
I think you probably thought I was replacing that one with the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that award was so.
the way John was bopping his head, I thought he was listening to some music we all needed to hear.
This is wonderful. Okay.
The
So
one
tell
on the
us
left
a little.
is after I retired from council the second time. And like I told people, I enjoyed every day on city council. Councilman, we don't have any birds in my neighborhood. Councilman, you know, I live on Sudbury, and every morning these yellow buses start up. I said, who was there first, you or the yellow buses? Don't get smart with me. I said, look, I'm not getting smart with you. I'm just asking you a question. Those buses were there well before you. The one, as I say, we're not here to honor a moderate, is Peter Lawson and my wonderful friend, Earl Lycan, when we awarded Peter the well-deserved Martin Luther King Award. And I was so appreciative that he was one of the many recipients. And once again, Earlene Hooper, Pat Mearns, Avery Friedman, so many over the years received that, but this was so special to me when we honored Peter Lawson Jones with the Martin Luther King Award.
What year was that? What year was that, Peter?
Well, I was a county commissioner at the time, so that I would have, if I had to guess, I would say that that's probably around 2008, 2009, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I was back on council. Yes.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, folks, this was just a wonderful way to spend an evening together. It absolutely was. Thank you so much, Al, for sharing.
I want to say,
your
I appreciate
some of your
everyone
story.
that came on to hear my story. And if there's anything you didn't hear, like my good friend John Boykin wanted to hear about the incident at the amusement park, that's a whole nother story.
Another whole story.
Yes.
And I always have to tell people too that I have the privilege of having more notes that I've taken in the conversations that I have with our guests, you know, on Witness to History. We cover most of the conversation, but there's always a little bit more. And it's such a pleasure. And it's such a pleasure, Al, having you share your stories with us.
I thank yourself, Donna, John, Kay, and as I say, Kevin and Lisa, and so many others that have made this possible. And I've wanted to do it, but some of you knew why I didn't for so long.
But
and I'm
today
glad
was the right
that
day.
you all let me do it.
The day was the right day. And Al said, now Peter says, is this you, Peter, saying this? We'll have to do Al Foster part 2. Well, thank you, Al Foster. Thank you so much. This day finally came when you're our guest, and we really appreciate your time. And I think that John put up the screen there for, I'm always waiting for my next guest. I'm always waiting for my next guest. You're all welcome. Many of you here have been guests on Witness to History. There are many more of you who have not. And as long as I have people who are willing and interested, I'll be ready for your story to be told to all of our Moreland friends, family, and residents. This is a way to contact me, either by email or telephone. And don't hesitate to contact me. I'll respond to you as quickly as possible. Most of the time, I think people are reluctant to just step up and say, I really want to be on Witness to History, but I'd really like to hear from you. And we will be here next month. I will announce very soon who our guest will be. And with that, I would like to wish all of you a wonderful evening this evening. And I'm sure I'll see most of you later this month at some of our other events. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to you, Al. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody
Bye-bye.
have a good evening. Take care now.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. All right. Congrats. Bye-bye.